Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, beautiful, beautiful individual. Today, I would like to speak about spiritualizing our senses. So, when we see a mineral, we don't only see its physical form, but we also see the spiritual that projects the physical form into visibility, into becoming visible and having a form. So, and also when you see plants, you see their mineral body, which is every year constantly dying, and every year also brought back to life through new forces that comes from the sun. You can also recognize these forces within human beings if we actually are observant enough. So when you also see an animal, you also see the two others, the mineral, the physical form, and that which project the physical form, the etheric or the plant nature, which is reflecting down our life force from the sun. And then you have the animals, which have both of these two, or the astral, and they also have the astral, which is the nervous system and which brings about movement, which brings about instincts, passions, and so on. And that you also can reflect in mankind. But then we have the ego, which differentiates mankind with any other living being on this earth. Our I am, our ego. Now, the ego is the youngest of all our faculties, our body the oldest, ironically enough. Our physical body has been in existence since the ancient Saturn, when we were only heat. When we were only heat, we had to... How should we explain it? The higher beings had to project into the heat an ego and certain forces that allows the heat to be worked upon, condensed down into air over time. And of course, this is over long periods of times. We are now in the Earth development, and we have gone through Moon and Sun and Saturn development. And we are still to go through Jupiter, Venus, and Vulcan stage. So we still have ways to go. We are only about halfway there. And to be able to spiritualize your senses, to be able to see the forces lying behind it, at first understanding them as concepts, and then try to connect your perceptions, your perceiving, your comprehension to the spiritual. And it requires active force. It requires active grabbing a hold of your inner faculties in freedom to do so. In freedom, recognize the divine within us. With our ego, we can spiritualize the other three faculties so that they can become higher faculties through higher beings. Requires us also to behave and to conduct ourselves in a moral and a loving and a respectful, reverent way. As I have said earlier, also easier said than done, because we have been taught many different things, picked up many different things that has become autonomous actions in many ways. And by becoming self-aware to these promptings and inner impulses of the soul, we can transform them to something more pure, something more spiritual, something more strong within our earthly development. Spiritualizing our otherwise only physical and dead matter. By becoming aware that this so-called dead matter have a will and have a certain guiding force to them, and that we as human beings are to awaken within us the soul and spiritual forces that allows us to see the divine outside in the physical. So where you see nothing, everything will show itself. The will, the structure, forms, shapes, movements, the wisdom, the love laying behind the whole of reality. It requires to grab a hold of this and be able to live it. And that requires belief, faith, love, and hope. If we need a proof before we start doing anything, you will never be given anything. No signs will be given. But by having faith and then go along doing it, you will be given reward for your faith. Your faith will be rewarded always. It really, of course, you have periods where you barely see any change, where you barely see any growth, any kind of forward movements. But that is the times when you are meant to go within and self-reflect and stir your soul and bring in new impulses to health of the soul and spirit. And when you are here with your ego, with your I, then you spiritualize. Then you can bring about, through your imagination at first, you bring life to the outer structure of this reality. So when you do this enough, they will slowly but surely grow into these imaginations, becoming reality, becoming inspiration. So they meet you, you see, in the middle there. With your imagination, you meet them with inspiration. And over long periods of time, it will in the end become intuitive living, where you are realizing that every prompting and impulse that you have within you is divine impulses that prompts you to make changes, to bring about different changes to yourself that might allow you to understand the world deeper, to allow you to love the world and the path deeper, to be able to understand and to overcome any uncomfortable, painful situation with dignity, honor, and respect for life and for karma and for whatever we eventually might go through in future incarnations and what we have gone through in past incarnations and in this life. What have we learned from it? What can we extract as lessons from it? How can we strengthen our soul, our whole soul, in this earthly reality? Not trying to look for ourselves outside in the cosmos, outside in the physical, but truly finding yourself within, finding your soul. See what comes out of your soul impulses from outside, from inside out. By doing so, you awaken your creativity, you awaken your life, your movements within, and your freedom to choose more morality and good, or being a scoundrel and oppress and lie and steal. There is a choice here, but when you realize you are from the same cloth as the divine, and that even though this physical is Maya, Maya is still the hierarchy, and by studying this illusion and by getting to know true reality behind illusion and still live consciously and actively within this reality, that is when you can truly grab a hold of you anchored within this reality, embodying as much as of the cosmos and of the hierarchy as possible. And that is what we practice and why we prepare ourselves to be able to embody more and more and more. And it is a steady growth and change. It happens over time, over practice, over consistency. It happens with consistency and strength. And that is also through faith, through knowing that there are something greater behind. They will show themselves in the end because you give them the proper respect and love to do so. And we in freedom have to get to know that divine is behind here. And we can also choose to neglect this practice too. That can also be a choice. But as long as you have the seed, as long as you know that within you, your ego, you can unfold, transform, and deepen yourself as a human being, and not something lesser than just an animal or just a mechanical structure. You truly are a transforming, organic, spiritual, deep, profound human being. And we are meant to transform and spiritualize everything around us through our senses, through our inner soul spirit, through our mind, and through our will. We are truly meant to spiritualize our life and this world around us, and to wake up love and understanding within us. Once we do, life will become much more manageable and much more, you have much more insight to where we are going, what we should cultivate and practice, so that we can wake up to a better tomorrow. So we can wake up to, and when we pass through the gate of death, we know that when we come back to this earth, we have a foundation to continue the work we did earlier in love, compassion, and beauty, and morality, and deep, substantiality. I think I will leave you with this. May you be blessed, protected, guided, and loved by Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, the hierarchy, the ancient masters of old, our ancestors, Michael, and may you find your wonderful individual path, and may you awaken your personality and, find the divine again. I love you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.